Coming home. I was born on a beach just beyond the reach of high tide. Yet I have not always been a neighbor of the sea. In those years that survived my youth, mountains, the color of freedom, bled rivers into the valleys of my dreams, and the same rain that fell on ancient conifer forests nourished the Oregon lifestyle. But I was born on a beach and have returned like a spawning salmon to end where I began. Love poems. If my poems were strong enough, each like the stones Jeffers gathered along the Carmel coast, I would build a fortress where I could keep the world at bay, away from our time together. I could only hope the rain didn't find those small crevices between my metaphors. There would be an English garden out back. I would paint the garden gate green, if only for the alliteration. And beyond the garden, the sea, all blustery with white caps, dappled with the same blue your eyes smile in the afternoon sun. And from a forest of words that covers those distant mountains, I would harvest love poems, lay them in the palm of your hand, along with my heart. Indian Beach, a slice of wild Oregon coast, wide, windswept, dotted with tide pools. Sea stacks rise from the ocean. We travel the road in, long and winding, meandering beneath a canopy of coast range forest, thick with evergreens, carpeted in ferns. Offshore, Tillamook Rock Lighthouse still stands guard in an oft angry sea, and in a light spring rain, I kiss her the first time. Double overhead. Waves are not measured in feet, in inches, they are measured in increments of fear. Buzzy Trent. Somewhere in a place as distant as childhood, storms stir the sea. Mountains of turquoise and cobalt rise up like villains in a grim fairy tale. On a morning so bright you forget it is January, you paddle out as you have 1,000 times before. Those first dark lines appear on the horizon, furrows on the forehead of the world. You race toward them, pray you find refuge in deep water beyond towering crests, that silent violence beneath their collapse. Immortality rides the face of these waves. You believe in yourself, call it wisdom, though from shore it looks like suicide. You commit, let the sea swallow you as you stretch a scar of your passage across her swollen belly. Life stampedes through your chest. This is the way you want to die. Long Beach State, 1961. Sue is a surfer from Ventura. She has straw-colored hair, a smile that raises my blood pressure. Her eyes, the color of that seldom-seen green flash, dance when she speaks. Flawless skin glows a deep tan, like coffee with too much cream. A slight smear of pink lipstick adorns her mouth. We meet most mornings in the college parking lot, our token effort at attending classes. More days than not, we choose now over the future. My old Chevy spews blue smoke as we head for Seal Beach, 5 miles down PCH. The campus, perched on a green hillside with its web of walkways, its halls of learning, fades in the rearview mirror, along with our collegiate careers. Greener days. A lone tree stands on a bluff above the Pacific, bent from the constant caress of an ocean breeze, branches bare, stark against an ever-changing coastal sky. Not a single leaf or bud with the promise of new life. When I was a young man, it was green with creation, and threw shade across purple blossoms that crowded the ground around it. I would unfold my beach chair, sit in its shadow, write poetry. Never a thought of that tree becoming nothing more than deadwood, or of me growing into an old man, remembering greener days. Proposition. Come with me to Paris, where food is a religion, love affairs short-lived as clean sheets in a bordello. I'll buy you the Eiffel Tower, or maybe your own bridge on the River Seine. We'll stroll the boulevard, watch artists struggle with color and light. But here, in this California beach town, all I can offer are craggy coastal bluffs, a stretch of sand stippled with impressions of lovers, and the blood of a setting sun spilled across the sea. The only Parisian pleasure I can promise is a French kiss. Old dogs. There are dogs in my house, in my life. I want to write a poem about them, maybe mention unconditional love, how they curl up next to me on the couch, content with any TV program I choose to watch. Get excited about taking a walk, jump on the bed when I lie down, lick my face just because I'm there, protect me from UPS and FedEx trucks. But I remember a poem written by the late Jimmy Stewart, how he read it on the Johnny Carson show, a posthumous tribute for his dog Bo. His poem rhymed with some predictable lines, but he read it with his signature soft stammer, decades of acting experience, a slight catch in his voice and moist eyes. So I ask you, what chance do I have? Shorebird. Her small skeleton still intact, she lies on the cobbles just above high tide line. A few feathers still adorn her hollow bones, tiny beak on her long straight neck like the head of a spear. I don't see her legs or feet. Scavengers have finished with her, tiny carcass now baking in the sun. She is weightless in the palm of my hand, no smell of death, remains delicately rigid. I leave her where I found her, just as they left Mallory where they found him on Everest. Greenwich Village Wedding. There is no church, no minister, no gathering of family and friends. A tangled sheet is her wedding gown, that faux fireplace their witness. He whispers, "I love you," and "I do," in the same breath. The red velvet wallpaper proclaims, "You may kiss the bride." Beach Bum's Lament. The sun has just begun to show, though it is nearly noon. I watch waves break on shore, listen to their death rattle, that final explosion of power that erodes the very edges of earth. Gulls lurk nearby, hoping for a share of my sandwich. Scattered along the sand, groups of beachgoers, folding chairs with built-in umbrellas, beach blankets held down by huge coolers. A breeze out of the west whispers life secrets, but I don't speak the language, so catch only a word or two. Questions. I wonder about the seagulls. How do they know when a minus tide will expose mussels that cling to these jetty boulders? Do they read the same tide charts I do? And when did they learn to open those shells, held together as tightly as a child's hands in prayer? Finding an I love you. I toss an I love you into the sea, hope it returns on the changing tide. The sun slips silently below the horizon to become someone else's sunrise. Our sky darkens to the purple of night. Stars fall on the ocean. Their fire floats next to a pale sliver of new moon, neither as bright as your eyes. I find yesterday's I love you washed ashore, tangled in the tail of a shooting star. Unable to separate them, I bring both home, a gift to go with all those others, the unbroken shells, rocks that shimmer when wet but become pallid as they dry, pieces of driftwood, chunks of fallen trees, bits of bamboo, and every I love you I ever offered up in your name. Summer Wind. I search for remnants of our hours together down by the sea. I find a footprint or two where we walked. Yet, just as years have erased the memory of your face, tides have rewritten those steps of our journey. But the sun has not forgotten days we worshipped it, even as it faded into one cloud after another. I whisper your name, and you come back to me, on the summer wind.